Hello, fight fans, and welcome to the Combat Challenge podcast. My guest is a former MMA lightweight athlete with a professional record of 12 wins and only 5 defeats. He was a regular athlete on the prestigious Cagewarriors promotions. Mr. Mick, the English Bull Terrier Sinclair. Mick, thank you so much for joining us, my brother.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, good, man. Have you finished doing your hoovering, brother?
Oh, man, that's why I've got a sweat on. Look, tell all your viewers to get a shark hoover. I'm telling you, it whaps everything up.
Really? Is it really good?
I love it. Yeah, it's the only time I vacuum now. I love it. I didn't even know what vacuum were till we bought one.
Brother Mick, the first question I want to ask you is the fight name that you had, the English Bull Terrier. Where did that come about, if you can share that with us?
Well, we always had English Bull Terriers. I've got one here now. She's on settee. And it just came just because I liked it. You know, I was small, I was muscular, I was white, I was always fighting, and I usually had a black eye. And once I got on top of it, I didn't let go. So it just kind of stuck. And I had a big set of bollocks as well. Not really, but yeah, no, it just come from that. It just seemed to fit perfectly. It were our words, you know what I mean? Quite savage, really, when I got going.
Well, it fitted your style of competing, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was. You know, when you're going into that environment, I'm not a real fighter, me. I never were. I'm a comedian. I'd rather make you laugh than hurt you. But in that environment, you have to become something else. So just a bit of a title gives you that. I think a lot of fighters do it. You have to become that person. Do you know what I mean? Just for 15 minutes. You know, otherwise you can't go in like you would every day because you will get beat up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. None of that's a good way of looking. And you're right. It creates a persona for that moment, right?
Yeah. You have to step into those shoes when you're stepping into that cage, if you will, because you're going into an environment that's not normal. Do you know what I mean? It's not normal to have a full-on fight and really try and hurt someone who hasn't done anything to you. So you have to get yourself in that zone, don't you?
Brother, can you share with us your martial arts journey from a young age, what sort of sports you got into and how you ended up competing all the way on Cagewarriors?
Well, we've always been fit, me and my brother. We've always been athletes. We've always played football and whatever, even down to chess and stuff like that. And then I got into boxing a bit when I was younger, and I really enjoyed it. And then I got in ring, right? I put me with this kid, he kicked shit out of me. I thought, sod this. I'm not doing this again. I thought I'll take him outside and batter him. And then I thought, well, he just battered me in here. There's no point taking him outside. Get a real kicking, is there? So I kind of drifted away from it. I thought it's not for me, that. And then I just, you just potter around as a teenager and whatever. And then I saw UFC 40, I think it were, Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz in 2003. And I just looked at it and thought, no, I can do that. I know I can. I want to have a go. So I did. And I just started researching places and I found Michael Bisping down in a gym in Burnley. You know them punch bags, right, that nobody ever goes on, ever, because they're like concrete. I'm thinking, who the fuck's that on that bag? Because he was a big bloke then, only about 17 stone, because he was like heavyweight, weren't he, Bisping? And I thought, you know. So I went over talking to him, and he just said, come along. He took me out Wolfslair and stuff in Liverpool. So
was that his gym that you went to?
No, he was training there because he used to train there as a child. You know, when he was like 8, 10, 12, I think, something like that, maybe even a bit older. But yeah, he were in Burnley, so he just went down, and the guy who was training everybody for kickboxing knew that I didn't really want to do that. So he just said, look, come and meet him. So I went over, and that was it. We just became pals, and he helped me out a lot. I must say, a hell of a lot. Wouldn't have got where I got if it weren't for him. Definitely not. And
you said you ended up going to Wolfslair, did you?
Yeah. Down there with some of the at that time, some of the big boys, Antonio Silva. They made me spar with him. Can you believe it? I got him ring. I thought, what am I doing here with him? He went. I try not to hurt you. And I had a shower with him. Don't do that either. You want to see him, honestly. But he was a nice chap, He was all right. He was a decent bloke. He never went a bully or anything. Nice bloke.
I interviewed Tom Blackledge, and he was saying, was it at the time when Tom was there?
Yeah, Tom was there as well, yeah.
And Quinton Rampage and Mario Socata.
Yeah, all of them.
Wow, man. So you did some training there, and then where did you go after
that? Well, Matt Bisping went on to win Ultimate Fighter 3, and he just didn't have time. if you will. So we ended up just floating about for a little bit, me and my brother, and then we found Gav Boardman down at Predators. So Rob said, look, I found this guy. Let's go down and see him. So we went down there and you were just like blown, to be fair. You were like flipping it. I thought you were a goon. I thought, who's this geek? What's he going to teach me? I've been out Wolfslair. Anyway, I had a roll with Rob and he went, yeah, you know what you're doing. I thought, what do you mean I know what I'm doing? I have 4 fights, mate. I mean, I only won 1, but he didn't know that, did he? And we were just blown away. We were just like, wow, this guy's definitely knows his stuff. So we're home after that.
So there was Gav Boardman, and did you mention Rob? Is that Rob Freeman?
No, my brother Rob, who came with me.
Yeah. The last fight you had, brother, that was on Cagewarriors 74 against Saul the Hangman Rogers, who had won all his fights from the UFC Ultimate Fighter Season 22. Can you talk us about how that fight came about, and then what your preparation was, and then talk us through the fight?
Yeah, everyone wants that last 1-2 fights, don't they? It happens to footballers, fighters, tennis players. You know, you want that rush again, don't you? And I just wanted another fight, but this isn't big-headed because I'm not like this at all. I hate fighting, but I couldn't get a fight. You know, my idea was if you beat me, I'll make sure you never want to fight me again. You know, if you win, then you win legit. You know, I just couldn't get opponents, and neither could Rob for a long time. And then fair play to Saul Rogers, he took the fight, and I thought, you know, finally I get to go against a good guy. So I trained really hard. I really did. I got myself proper fit. I even went to London on train with like a little bottle of water because I was underweight. And I really enjoyed the weigh-in. I enjoyed everything again because it got boring and monotonous, and it's a job. It weren't a job anymore. I went back to being a hobby. And then I went in and I just did the best I could. And it was just better. It was just how it were. I could say he were younger, he were hungrier, I could play all them things, but he were better. And that's that. And he were very modest afterwards. He were very nice about me on his interview. I always remember that. You know, he said, why would I take a chance with him? He's a fucking idiot, you know, like he's a killer. I'm thinking, well, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to fight and he wanted to win, and he did exactly what he had to do, and he just absolutely shut me down. Brilliant. Fair play to him.
And how did the fight end, Mick?
A decision, but it was a clear decision, absolutely clear decision. You know, he was I just didn't know what to do with him. Everything I did, he just nullified it. You know, and it was like fair enough. But I didn't know this, right? Check this out. You can put this on. Don't edit this out. I didn't know that he had English Bull Terriers till the day after when I made friends with him on Facebook, and I thought that's why he pinned me down, because he knows how to treat them dogs, doesn't he? At one point, I thought if he starts shagging me in here, I'll look around twat. But but I messaged him on Facebook a day after. I said, no wonder you knew what to do, you fuck. I didn't know you had them dogs. And he's always been nice when I've seen him since. He's a nice bloke.
I remember Saul from back in the days because I think it was either his second or third amateur fight was on the champions.
Burnley Bro.
No, before that it was on which used to be the champions before it became a combat challenge, and our show in Bradford. That was then.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good lad, is Saul. Really cool.
Phenomenal wrestler. That was unbelievable.
Well, talking about other stuff, because we're in testing times, brother, you know, with the pandemic, and more importantly with mental health, you know, how are you kind of keeping yourself active and keeping yourself not just physically fighting fit, but mentally fighting fit?
Well, I had 2 breakdowns. One 18 months ago, September 17th. That was a bad day. Always a good day, I don't know. I didn't die, so that's not too bad, is it? And then I had another breakdown last May. They're not breakdowns, they're breakthroughs, you know, and it's a real... So I started taking antidepressants as well, sertralines. They've massively helped me. But then I started researching so many more things. I'm constantly... Because I window clean, you see, so I'm always listening to YouTube. It's a new library, innit? Do you know what I mean? So I'm reading all the time. So I've learned a hell of a lot about mental health, and without the sertralines, I wouldn't have the same help. But you know, you've just got you can tell yourself like how you want to feel. Your thoughts create emotions, emotions create thoughts, whatever. But if you say to me now, and I'm going to be quite blunt here, and I'm going to swear, I'm going to be racist, but I don't mean it. If you said to me, "You fucking white bastard," blah blah blah, I decide how I feel about that, not you. That's black magic. I don't let you make me angry. That's my decision. I just go, well, fair enough. say, if I thought you were a bit better than that, so we'll end the interview and good luck. So whatever I come up against, I don't react anymore. I don't. And my friend said to me, I've got a lot of good compliments, which is good for mental health. Last week, my friend said to me, look, you've got an amazing ability to always see the positive in something, no matter what it is. I said, well, I never used to. But so I've done that. And for me personally, it's not for everybody. Not letting it get a grip of you and realising that, you know what, like say when you're telling your kids off, and I learnt this, treat yourself like you're a loaded gun. Because how scary are you when you shout at your kids? How fucking scary are you, me? We're men, aren't we? We're cage fighters, whatever you want to say. And I started realising a lot of like who I could be. And I mean, don't mean a good person, I mean a bad person. Because everyone's a hero, aren't they? Or innocent, and no one's the villain. No one's ever the perpetrator. They're a victim. Do you know what I mean? And I was a victim of circumstance, which allowed me to then treat people not nice, because, especially my close family, my kids, my wife, because I was a victim. So I was allowed to do it. So I've totally changed everything around to, I have a picture of the Joker, Heath Ledger, above my telly. I used to like that, but I would just look at it and think that's where I could be. I could be that horrible person. So it gives me, it's like the devil, you know what I mean? The devil's a symbol of what you shouldn't do. You get what I mean?
Sure.
So that helps me in my mental health, just to be nice to people, just to enjoy the day. You know, I put a video on the other week, and it was, you know, I used to think, oh, I just want to die. I've had enough. I want to die. And now I think, do I want to live? Absolutely, do I want to live? You know, it's fair enough. It's a lockdown, but you can still live, can't you? You can still have a laugh, and you know, that's, you know, always I take all that responsibility onto myself of how I act and how I feel. I don't let nobody else dictate ever, you know, because otherwise you're a prisoner, aren't you? You're a slave. And nobody likes slavery, do they? Do you know what I mean?
No, not at all. And for sure, you know, you're in a good place now, Mick, but obviously you had to go through some turbulent times to get to where you are now, right?
Yes. Well, I wear these, and people laugh at these, but like I like my religious symbols. You probably can't see them, but there's a few different ones on there. There's a cross, there's the Allah sign, the Om sign, and the Yoda chaos. And you know, Jesus says, and a lot of people think I'm a God squad, but I'm not. I'm looking at it differently. It's just the metaphors of there's no resurrection without crucifixion, which he said to Peter at night before the crucifixion, which is true in what we do. You know what I mean? You've got to crucify yourself in the gym to come out the other end in the cage, haven't you? And it's the same with this. If I wanted to lose that life, I kind of had to die in a way.
It's interesting you're saying that, Mick. There's a guy who runs the Andy's Man Club. I don't know if you've heard of it, but the guy who runs it is a guy called Luke Ambler from Halifax. And I've known him for a while. And I was chatting to him, and one of the things the analogy he gave was, it's like a storm. Some people, they're in that storm, you know, and it's happening now. Others, the storm's behind them, you know, that they've gone through it, which is you. And there's others that they need to realize that there will be a storm coming, and it's how you kind of work your way through all those three stages and keep that level head, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what the cross in Christianity means. That's what it means. Life is suffering. Life is tough, and you have to bear your own cross and not blame anybody else for your shit. You have to carry it, and you have to, in the end, you have to forgive people for everything. Otherwise, you'll become resentful, which I did. And resentment can make you bitter, and it can make you cruel, and it can make you malevolent, and it can make you mean, and it can make you nasty. You know, you need resentment because it tells you something's not right, but not as your constant friend, because it's not your friend. So I've learned that, like I say, through that sort of thing, you know, all these things I've been learning through all the different religions I've been looking into, but not taking it like dogmatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And it's good to look at it that way. I mean, look, you're a lot more relaxed now. You're enjoying stuff like hoovering using the shark, aren't you, brother?
Oh, honestly, you bar one.
So we've got a bit off track, so let's go back onto
sorry.
But thank you so much, Mick, for opening up and sharing, because there's a lot of people, what they do is they look at athletes and coaches and fighters and former athletes and think, oh, they're really rock steady, them, you know, they've got no to worry about. But we all have our darkest times, don't we, brother? And people need to realize that we all feel that way at a certain time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's people out there who who think just because you've got a title of like, you know, you're a fighter means nothing bothers you. But we're aware of people who unfortunately have lost their lives, even though they were really good fighters or really good coaches who are no longer with us, you know.
Well, you know, depression doesn't just come from failure. It comes from success as well. Mike Tyson, Heath Ledger, Brittany Murphy, Amy Winehouse. Don't think that failure can lead you to suicide, because success can as well, because it can make you very lonely. And the worst things like this lockdown, like they reckon with soldiers, it wasn't the prisoners of war, it wasn't the torture, what was the hardest bit, it was the isolation, being left on your own. That's what was the worst bit. You get what I mean? So even the torture, they're with somebody, and that's what it can be like at the very top, I presume. You know, if you're Elvis or Michael Jackson or Mike Tyson, you know, it can be a very, very lonely place, can't it? Can't trust people, can't talk to them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there'd be a trust issue there, wouldn't there, brother? Because people like that sometimes get burned by people who they thought were really close to them and had their best interest at heart, right?
There's a lot of snakes, you know. But end of the day, it's all about just getting through it, isn't it? Everybody's suffering. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone knows someone with cancer. Everyone knows someone who's died last year. You know, everyone's struggling with the bills, or if they're not struggling with the bills, they're struggling with the marriage. It's just life, isn't it?
It is, brother.
But I love it, dear. I do.
Well, I watched this YouTube clip, which is quite good and it's impactful, and it was called The Black Dog. And I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
So you'll know what I mean, because everyone has that black dog with them. It's just some people can control that and control, you know, that depressive side, and others, it overtakes them, right?
Yeah. Well, what you resist persists. The more you resist it, the more it will just keep coming and coming and coming. You're better off just accepting it and just going with the flow the best you can. Just going, you know what, I'm just having a shitty day. Because if you suppress it, you'll come home and more than likely shout at wife and kids. Whereas if you just go, do you know what, walk in, and like my wife's called Samantha. You know what, Samantha, I'm just having a shit day today. You know, very rare these days, to be fair, but every now and then you got to recharge, because I'm usually a lot more mental than this. Rob will probably tell you that, but he loves me for it. He won't change me, I don't think. So you've just got to ride whatever it is. You know, it's like hunger. It comes in waves. Shit feelings comes in waves. Good feelings comes in waves. You can't always be up there. You can't always be down here. You've got to be somewhere there, aren't you?
For sure. Well, I did a podcast with Rob, and he was singing.
Yeah, we're good, weren't it?
It was, it was good. And then I've done one with Declan Williams that I am put up here, and he was saying, look, you need Mick Sinclair on there. That guy's a character. You need him on there. So that's why I needed you on.
There is no circus without the clown, is there?
That is true, my brother. That is true. So your martial arts career, brother, you've been involved in martial arts for many years. Are there any coaches or mentors that have played a significant part? And if so, who and what role did they play in your martial arts career?
Well, obviously there's the main ones, but we'll just get basically everybody. Everyone I've ever rolled with, thrown a glove with, held pads with, everyone's played a part because of thingy. But obviously, like the main one's Gav Boardman, Predators, you know, and then you've got Dave Akuda down here and Paul Murphy, Jason Tattersall, our friend, Buddy, and that down where we are now. It goes on and on, but Gav's the main one. And Colin Erin, actually, how can I forget that? I learned a lot from Colin down at Cowbomb. He was influential. Terry Etting was very influential to me, helped me a lot. But Gav will be the main coach, absolutely. And obviously Gav and Rob, they were the two main men I needed next to me.
You've had loads of fights, brother. Out of all those fights, is there any fight that's quite rewarding? It doesn't have to be one that you won. It could be some adversity that you overcome that you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, well, I suppose every fight. But yeah, the big one for me was the Ashley Grimshaw fight, where I dropped to featherweight and I was like 400 grams overweight, and he made me wait like 2 hours. And I was just, you know, I weren't coming in like a big fatty. You know, I just got carried to scales, but he was playing the game fair enough. But like 2 or 3 weeks prior to that, I split up with my missus and I'd moved out. So I was living on my mate's city. I'd lost my job. I'm like, fucking hell. It's like, it comes in threes, doesn't it? But you don't think them three things. Anyway, I thought I just kept going for this fight. I thought, keep me focused, because I'll end up going up piss otherwise. And then I had the big weight cut. Like I say, that was difficult. And he were a tough lad. You know, he were a high-ranked guy. That's the grim show. And then he knocked me out at first round, but nobody knows that who don't know me. But I've always remember I walked in, I felt like I'd been hit with a brick. And I just went down, and then next thing I went changing rooms. I'm like, what happened? Like I was drunk. And Cam Atakuri's like, you won, you did this. I'm like, did I? And he's like, yeah, but when he knocked me down in the first bit, he knocked me out. If he'd have stepped back and told me to stand up, it would have finished me. But he dived on me. And I managed to obviously go off instinct. That's when Colin Heron saw me, actually. And Colin said, you're more than welcome to come out our place, you know. My mate who were living with, he said he were backstage, and he said, I thought, please win this fight. God, this will finish him off, you know. So some fights you don't think you're going to win and you do, and some fights you're going to win and you don't, do you?
And how did you end up winning that fight?
Head kick, knockout.
And you don't remember?
No. I've seen it, I know it happened, but no, I don't have the actual memory of it, no. Punch drunk, innit? I cut a lot of weight, you know. I had a lot. The doctor said after, I said, look, I'm going up drink. And he said, no, you're not. And I said, I am. He said, listen, you've lost a lot of water on your brain. Just go home. So I went to the pub. No wonder I'm messing up there.
I've seen you spending a bit of time with the Muscle Factory. That's Buddy's place, isn't it?
Yeah, Buddy and Tarek. Yeah, there's two of them, yeah.
Well, I messaged him, you know, the other day because I want him on the podcast because he's a character, him, innit?
He's hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious. Me and Buddy have a good relationship.
I messaged him and he said he's abroad, but when he comes back, he'll get on the podcast with us, which will be great, man. I look forward to having him on.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. He is good, I must say.
He ended up competing a bit as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's mad, isn't he? It's just like all the time. Look at them. And then he's like showing. Well, I'm not sure I ain't got any abs anymore, but he's like showing his abs. He's like, buddy, think he's. Oh, don't worry about that. Inshallah, I'll kick his ass and all this stuff. and then he went 5-0. Like, maybe I should have just done curls in the gym for a bit. You know what I mean? I might have ended up at UFC.
Through your martial arts career, if there's other people that are interested in competing on a professional capacity, through your knowledge and experience that you've got, mate, what information and advice would you cascade down to those people who are interested in going down that route?
Listen. Always listen. Throughout your life, no matter just your career or your thing, just always presume that person knows something you don't. Yeah, which they probably do, even if they're a white belt and you're a black belt. And just look after your body, listen to your injuries. Don't just think, I'll get on with it, I'll be fine. Because it's all right when you're 21, but it's not when you're 40. They do catch up with you. Find a good coach. I think Robert said this. And like I say, ask them why. Well, why does that work? Don't just be dogmatic. You know, like me with the, you know, crucifixion, resurrection, or don't cast pearls at swine. Well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is when somebody's talking to you, stop listening. It's when somebody's not listening to you, stop talking. Don't devalue what you've got to say, but find out why it is. You know, learn as much as you can. And I would honestly say this: the biggest one. You know, run at pain, run at shame, run at guilt. Run at the stuff that you're shit at. Don't just stay in your. I'm good at wrestling. I'm just going to wrestle. Or I don't like being in guard. Do everything that you keep getting. And if you get caught in a triangle, do not tap and go back to your knees. Go back to that triangle. If someone gets you back and they rear naked choke you, don't go back to your knees when you tap. You start in the rear naked choke. Don't go back to somewhere where it's neutral again. Go back to where you just got beat and get better and better and better and better at it. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I didn't even think about that.
No, and you know, I trained with Paul Sass, and you know, I do everything to avoid his guard. I should have been in his guard constantly. You know, if he tapped me out 10 times, so what? What would it matter? Eventually, he might not be tapping me out. Do you know what I mean? But you don't, because your ego's like that. Fucking that title, fuck that. And you're like, no, I don't care anymore, mate. I don't know who taps me out. I really don't give a shit. I sing to people when I'm rolling with them. I bark at them. So, I once barked in Manchester. I went mad. Aaron McDonald. Yeah, I had Aaron McDonald pinned down in side control with a crossface. I went like, you know, like when you take a bone off a dog. Like that. like an English bull. And I looked over and Robert Gavel like that. What's he doing? Just trying to have a laugh. Do you know what I mean? It's like it got too serious in the end, and it does because it has to. But when you really think about it, it don't have to. You should be, every spar shouldn't be a war. Tell you people who are listening, don't have a war every time you have a spar. You don't have to. It's not about that. Do you know what I mean? Just play, just move around, enjoy each other, try new stuff. That's best advice I think I could give.
And try to savor those moments, right?
Yeah, enjoy it. Be in the moment. Like there's another thing I'm into, and it's the spiritual, mindful awareness side. And people, whether in the past or in the future, we're never here right now talking to you. Absolutely, I have nothing else. I don't know where I'm going to be in 3 hours. I might be dead. I don't know, so I'm not going to think about that. And you do that when you're rolling with someone who's good or sparring with them. You're too busy thinking about what they're doing and getting to the end and not enjoying the moment.
You competed for many years, but then something needs to replace that. Can you tell us how you ended up replacing that void after you retired from competing on a professional level?
Well, the first thing I did with the void, if I'm honest with you, drinking drugs. And that went on for just under 10 years, I think.
Really?
Just searching. Yeah, not constantly, but, just searching for something to do and trying to, I'll still train. And yeah, for me personally, though, I've found the psychology side because the breakdowns led me to want to understand why I felt the way I did and what I could do to improve it, not just medication. So I found something like a life thing I know I can do. But yeah, it's difficult when you've finished doing what you've done for so long and not the adoration, all that crap, just the routine, and you just kind of, it's like splitting up with a girl, and you come in the house and it's empty. You're like, shit, what am I going to do? But I got there in the end. I'm happy. My kids are happy. My wife's happy. Everyone's happy. I put a video on last January about the thing and 35,000 views, and a lot of different people rang me. People I didn't know. One guy rang me, he'd been on the bridge. He's messaged me on Facebook, and he said I didn't know what we were going to do, and I watched this video. Didn't know me. It went viral, and he went and got some antidepressants and some counselling, and I don't know if he's still doing it or what, but I thought that was quite good. You can help. People have got a lot to say, a fucking lot to say, and there's a lot more about people than what you think. You know what I mean? So it's good. It's good as that. People probably won't realise a lot about me. Like you said, cage fighter, got it all. If he drove past Tyson Fury that day and he at Lancaster Services in his Ferrari, look at him, he's got everything. You won't know that you're ready for that bridge. Would you? It's just, be kind to everybody. It's good to be kind to people.
Definitely being kind, brother. And also, like, that one person who saw your video at that time is all it took. And it reminds me of the former UFC fighter who's no longer with us, Evan Tanner. And he was all about the power of one, what one person can do, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. People don't give themselves enough credit as well. There's the opposite side, where people really... Your ego tells you you're great, the big fucking brash ego. But the ego where you sit down and you don't say, oh, that person, they've got a big ego too. But their ego tells them they're no good. So just sit quiet and don't speak because you're thick. It's just your ego telling you that. Do you know what I mean? But one person, like you say, one person can make a difference, I think.
Mick, thank you so much for sharing not just your martial arts journey, but also, the struggles you've had with mental health. Because like we said, it only takes one person to watch this and think, this person who's a professional athlete struggled and he's found a way through it, and, it can affect me and I can try to find a way through it. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I look forward to having you on future podcasts, my brother.
Brilliant. Thank you for having me. I really, really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you.